Right before the dormitory gates, he delivered the first blow of my college life. 4 strangers rushed in, and the security camera on the light pole captured everything. They thought a freshman would stay silent. They didn't know I carried an entire legal file with me, along with a plan to turn family into defendants. Those 4 strangers needed just 12 seconds to stop the violence. I needed 12 days to wipe them from my life legally, publicly, with no way back. My name is Riley Carter, and on that August morning, I drove my beat-up Corolla toward Hawthorne State University with exactly 3 possessions that mattered: a cardboard box of textbooks I'd bought used, a stainless steel water bottle my grandmother had given me before she died, and a manila folder containing every document that proved my independence. The folder was the real weapon scholarship letters, dorm contracts, deposit receipts, all scanned and backed up to 3 different clouds. I'd learned to document everything. The smell of new plastic hit me as I pulled into the dormitory parking lot. Ridgemont's suburban sprawl stretched behind me, all strip malls and identical subdivisions. But ahead rose the red brick towers of HSU's freshman housing, my new life, my escape route. I'd calculated it down to the pennyful academic scholarship, work-study job at the library, meal plan covered, no strings back to them. Then I saw Janet's silver SUV in my rearview mirror. My stomach clenched, but I kept my face neutral as I parked. They weren't supposed to be here. I'd specifically told them I was handling move-in myself. But there they were, Janet stepping out in her performative, concerned mother outfit, Dale following with that familiar swagger that meant he was already irritated about something. "Riley, honey," Janet's voice carried across the lot, pitched for the other families to hear. "We couldn't let you do this alone." Dale was already at my trunk, trying the handle. "Pop it open. We'll help carry." "I've got it," I said, keeping my keys in my fist. "Really? There's not much." His jaw tightened, that micro-expression I'd cataloged 1,000 times. The one that preceded what he called corrections. "Don't be stubborn," Janet chirped, glancing at a passing family. "We drove all this way. Dale took off work." Dale took off work. At Tri-Bridge Logistics, where he'd been assistant floor manager for 3 years, never missing a chance to remind me how his sacrifice of working supported this family. The same job that somehow never generated enough income to explain the mysterious deposits into Janet's account every few months. Deposits that matched withdrawals from an education trust fund my grandmother had set up for me. A fund I wasn't supposed to know about until I turned 21, but I'd found the paperwork last spring. Screenshots saved, bank statements photographed. IP logs showing account access from our home router during times when I was verifiably at school. "I appreciate you coming," I said, pulling out just the box of books. "But orientation starts in an hour. They're very strict about the schedule." Dale's hand landed on the box. "What else you got in that trunk? That laptop you're always guarding." "My laptop's in my backpack. Just clothes in the trunk." "Clothes we paid for," he said, that edge creeping in. I wanted to correct him. Clothes I'd bought with money from my summer job at the campus bookstore, the job where Dale had shown up on my first payday demanding I hand over my contribution to household expenses. I'd given him cash to make him leave, but I'd deposited my actual check through mobile banking first, keeping the real money in an account they didn't know existed. "Dale," Janet's warning tone. More families were walking by. He released the box, but leaned close enough that I could smell the cigarettes he supposedly quit. "Your mother and I invested in your future. Riley, that means we're involved. We get a say." "My scholarship." "Your scholarship doesn't cover everything. Who do you think supplemented that meal plan? Who paid for this car's insurance?" I didn't answer. Didn't tell him I knew he'd taken that money from my grandmother's fund, too. Didn't mention the spreadsheet I'd built tracking every withdrawal, every forged signature on documents that required 2 guardians, but only ever showed one authentic one. "We should see your room," Janet said brightly. "Meet your roommate. Parents aren't allowed in the buildings yet. Security protocol for move-in day?" A lie, but delivered with enough confidence that Janet hesitated. Dale stepped closer. "Give me your room key. And that ID card." Your mother wants copies. I can make copies later. Now, the word hung between us. Around us, the sounds of move-in day continued, trunks slamming, parents calling instructions, someone's music thumping from an upper window, but in our little bubble by my car, time crystallized. I thought of the acceptance letter I'd hidden from them for 2 weeks, the emergency restraining order paperwork I'd downloaded and filled out but never filed, the recording app on my phone that was always one tap away from activation. No, I said. The sodium lights would turn on in 6 hours. The security camera on the light pole was already recording. In 12 minutes, orientation would actually start, and I'd either be there as Riley Carter, independent adult, or I'd be what they wanted: controlled, compliant, trapped. Dale's face flushed. What did you just say? I gripped my keys tighter, the metal edges biting into my palm. I said no. The slap came at the yellow drop-off line, right where the painted words read, "Welcome home, Hawkeyes." Dale's palm connected with my left cheek hard enough to snap my head sideways, the sound cracking across the parking lot like a gunshot. My water bottle flew from my hand, clanging against the asphalt. You ungrateful. He never finished. A blur of motion, someone stepped between us. Female, early 20s, wearing an RA shirt with Mara Jensen on a name tag. She held a walkie-talkie already crackling with security response. Sir, step back, now. Her voice carried the authority of someone trained for this. This is family business, Dale snarled, but another person was already there, a Latino guy in an EMT training vest. His badge read, D. Alvarez, Student Emergency Response. Miss, don't touch your face, Diego said to me, medical gloves already on. I need to document this. Can you state clearly, do you consent to medical examination? Yes, I managed. And did you consent to being struck? No, I did not consent to any physical contact. He was already taking photos with his phone. Timestamp visible. Security and RPD are 90 seconds out. A third person appeared older, maybe late 20s, carrying a legal pad. Caleb Brooks, law graduate student. He said quickly, You'll want to request a no-contact directive immediately. The university has emergency protocols. Don't say anything about the incident beyond basic facts until— What the hell is wrong with you people? Janet shrieked. This is our daughter. Ma'am, your husband just committed assault in front of approximately— Caleb glanced around, counting. 14 witnesses, plus— He pointed up. That camera, and that one. Also, I believe that parent is recording. He was right. A black woman holding a freshman's hand had her phone up, steady as a tripod. She called out, I got the whole thing, sweetheart. From the grab to the slap. You need it. You got it. Tanya Price, she added, not lowering the phone. Single mom. Been there. This video's already backing up to cloud. The walkie-talkie in Mara's hand crackled. Campus security in position. RPD unit pulling in now. Dale's face had gone from red to white. Put the phones down. Riley, tell them. I need you to stay 15 feet from her. Mara interrupted. Campus policy during active incident response. 2 campus security officers rounded the corner, body cams prominent on their chests. Behind them, a Ridgemont PD cruiser pulled up. Lights on, but no siren. Who called? The first officer asked. I activated emergency protocol, Mara said. Witnessed assault at 11:47 a.m. Victim is incoming freshman Riley Carter. Aggressor is this man, identified as Dale Whitaker. I said clearly. My mother's husband. He struck me when I refused to give him my room key and student ID. The RPD officer badge reading SGT Torres looked at my face. EMT already document this. Photos taken, injury assessed. Diego confirmed. Visible hand mark, possible bruising developing. I recommend formal medical documentation at student health within the hour. I'm not pressing charges, Dale announced, as if he had that option. Sergeant Torres almost smiled. Sir, that's not how this works. We're leaving, Janet said, grabbing Dale's arm. Ma'am, I need both of you to remain while I take statements. Torres said. Then, to me, would you like to file a report? Caleb leaned close, whispered, Say yes. Even if you don't pursue charges, you need the paper trail for the protection order. Yes, I said loudly. I want to file a report, and I want a no-contact order. The university can issue an interim one immediately, Mara added. I'm filing an incident report as an RA. Mr. Whitaker will be banned from campus pending review. Dale lunged forward. You manipulative little... 3 things happened in the span of 2 seconds. Sergeant Torres stepped forward, hand on his belt. Every phone in range rose to record, and Diego smoothly positioned himself to block Dale's path while making it look like he was checking his medical kit. Sir, Torres said, voice dropping an octave, you just attempted to approach someone who's filing an assault report against you, in front of a police officer. Would you like to escalate this to an arrest? Janet was crying now, mascara running. Riley, how could you? We're your family. Family doesn't hit, Tanya Price said flatly, still recording. Family doesn't steal education funds either. I froze. I hadn't mentioned the money to anyone. Tanya caught my look. Honey, I'm an accountant. That man just said he invested in your future but got mad you won't hand over your keys. That's financial abuse, red flags all over. Bet if you pull records... Shut up, Dale roared. There's more, Tanya finished. Caleb was writing rapidly. Officer Torres, given the attempted secondary approach and the raised voice, I'd recommend immediate issuance of an emergency protective order. The victim has indicated fear for her safety. I'm not afraid, I started to say, but Mara caught my eye, mouthed, Yes, you are. I am afraid for my safety, I corrected. He has a history of controlling behavior and now physical violence. The parking lot had become a crime scene. Yellow security tape appeared from somewhere. Parents shepherding their freshmen gave us wide berths. Someone from administration was speed-walking over, radio in hand. Torres finished writing. Mr. Whitaker, Mrs. Whitaker, I need you both to come with me to give statements. Miss Carter, Officer Daniels will take your statement here. We're not going anywhere without our lawyer, Dale said. That's your right, but you'll need to leave campus immediately. The interim no-contact order is effective now. Torres handed him a paper. 200 feet minimum distance, valid for 14 days pending formal hearing. As they were escorted away, Janet called back. Your sister will hear about this. Riley Haley knows what you really are. I didn't respond. Haley had already texted me that morning. Good luck at college. Don't come back. She'd chosen her side long ago. I didn't cry. Not when the campus nurse photographed my face from 6 angles. Not when I gave my statement to 3 different officers. Not when Mara walked me to my dorm room and waited while I locked the door. I sat on the standard issue twin bed, pulled out my laptop, and opened a spreadsheet titled Evidence Chain. Row 1, Assault Documentation. Timestamp 11:47 a.m. Witnesses Mara Jensen, Diego Alvarez, Caleb Brooks, Tanya Price, plus 14 others. Video evidence secured. Medical documentation complete. Incident report numbers HSU 2024-8847, RPD 445921. Row 2, Financial Crimes. This was where I'd make them bleed. My grandmother had left me $80,000 in an education trust. Not a fortune, but enough to ensure I could attend any state school without debt. The fund was supposed to be locked until I turned 21 unless used for qualified education expenses with dual guardian approval. Except Dale had found a way in. I pulled up the screenshots I'd been collecting since March. The first withdrawal, $5,000, 3 days after my 18th birthday. The signature page showed Janet's name and another scrawl that was supposed to be from my deceased father's brother, a man who lived in Germany and hadn't spoken to our family in a decade. I had emails from Uncle Marcus confirming he'd never signed anything. The withdrawals accelerated. 3,000 here, 7,000 there. Always just under the 10,000 that would trigger federal reporting. Always deposited into Janet's account first, then transferred to Dale's, then dispersed to credit cards, car payments, and cash withdrawals at the casino 40 miles north. $43,000 total. My future, financing Dale's present. Diego had given me Caleb's actual contact information before leaving. I texted him, "Can we meet tomorrow? I have documentation of financial fraud." His response came immediately. "Student legal services, 9 a.m., bring everything." My phone buzzed. "Janet, how dare you humiliate us like that? Dale is talking about suing you for defamation." I screenshotted it, saved it to the folder labeled Post-Incident Contact. Another text, from a number I didn't recognize. "This is Tanya Price. I uploaded that video to a private link. Here's the access code. Also, I do forensic accounting. First consultation free if you need it." I sat back, feeling something shift in my chest. These strangers had done more to protect me in 12 seconds than my family had in 19 years. My laptop dinged. An email from the Dean of Students. "Dear Miss Carter, the university has issued an interim no-contact directive against Dale Whitaker. He is banned from all campus property. If he attempts contact, call campus security immediately. A hearing is scheduled for August 30th. August 30th, the day of the Family Welcome Rally, the massive gathering where the university showed off for donors and parents. 20,000 people packed into the stadium. Dale would never miss an opportunity to make a scene there, restraining order or not. Unless I made the scene first. I opened a new document, Legal Strategy. Caleb had mentioned something called a Title IX complaint if Dale's abuse affected my ability to access education. The university had federal obligations to act. That would create an official record, searchable by employers. The financial crimes would be harder to prove without bank records. But Tanya was right, I could request them. As the beneficiary of the trust, I had standing to demand an accounting, and once I had that paper trail. My phone rang. Unknown number. Local area code. "Miss Carter, this is Avery Nolan from Redwood and Nolan. Caleb Brooks contacted me about your situation. We specialize in financial abuse cases, particularly education fraud. I can't afford pro bono. We take 2 cases a year through the law school clinic. Caleb made a compelling argument for yours. Can you come by tomorrow at 2 p.m.? I agreed and hung up. Then I started typing timeline of Dale Whitaker's control pattern. January. Demanded my work-study earnings for household contribution. February. Appeared at my workplace. Told manager he needed to approve my schedule. March. Attempted to access my college email for safety monitoring. April. Discovered trust fund theft via grandmother's archived emails. May. Started documenting everything. June. Opened independent bank account using campus address. July. Secretly changed beneficiary info on all school documents. August. Physical assault when denied control of room key and ID at the bottom. I wrote, pattern establishes financial abuse, educational interference, escalation to violence. My face throbbed where Dale had hit me. In the mirror, a perfect handprint was developing, purple-red against my brown skin. I took another photo, then another. Evidence. A soft knock at my door made me freeze, but it was just Mara's voice. "Riley, I have ice packs from the RA office. And Officer Torres wanted me to tell you they ran Dale's name. He has a previous arrest for assault from 2019. Charges were dropped, but the record exists." I opened the door and accepted the ice pack. "Thank you. For everything today?" "That's what we're here for," Mara said. "Also, that woman Tanya left her business card at the front desk. She wrote something on the back. I flipped it over. In neat handwriting, they always escalate when they lose control. Be ready. Document everything. You're not alone." I went back to my laptop and created a new folder. Witnesses for plaintiff. 4 strangers who'd given me 12 seconds of intervention. 12 seconds that changed everything. Now I had 12 days to turn those seconds into a case that would destroy Dale Whitaker's life as thoroughly as he'd tried to destroy mine. And I knew exactly where to deliver the killing blow. The family welcome rally. 20,000 witnesses. CNN sometimes covered it because the governor usually spoke. Dale wouldn't be able to resist showing up. And when he did, I'd be ready with something better than a restraining order. I'd have handcuffs. The smoking gun was hidden in an email from 2019 buried in my grandmother's archived Gmail account that Janet forgot existed. I'd guessed the password months ago. My grandmother always used my birthday plus her cat's name. At 3:15 a.m., running on coffee and rage, I found it. Dear Janet, the bank manager had written, per your request, we've added Dale Whitaker as an authorized signer on the Eleanor Carter Education Trust. Please note, this requires both guardian signatures. The notarized form you provided appears complete. Attached was the PDF. Janet's signature was real. The other signature, supposedly from my Uncle Marcus in Berlin, was dated March 15, 2019. I cross-referenced it with Uncle Marcus's Facebook. On March 15, 2019, he'd posted photos from a medical conference in Tokyo with timestamps proving he couldn't have been in Ohio signing documents. Forgery, federal crime, wire fraud if they'd used electronic transfers. I forwarded everything to Avery Nolan with the subject line, proof of fraudulent access to trust. By morning, I had more. Dale's LinkedIn showed he'd been between opportunities in 2019, fired from his previous job in February, not hired at Tribridge until September. The trust withdrawals started in March. They'd literally stolen my college fund to live on during his unemployment. Avery called it 8 a.m. sharp. Riley, this is bigger than we thought. Can you come in now? Her office was nothing like I'd expected, all glass and chrome in downtown Ridgemont's only high-rise. Avery herself looked like she ate corporate lawyers for breakfast silver hair in a power bob, suit that probably cost more than Dale made in a month. Caleb was right about you, she said, reviewing my documentation. This is meticulous, but we need the actual bank records to prove the money trail. As beneficiary, you can request them, but it might alert Dale and Janet. I don't care if they know. I want them to know it's coming. She smiled. Good instinct. Scared people make mistakes, but we need to be strategic. The criminal case for fraud is separate from the civil case for recovery. We can pursue both simultaneously. What about the assault? That gives us leverage. He's already shown violent tendencies when cornered. The prosecutor will love that pattern. She pulled up a legal database. Dale Whitaker's 2019 arrest was for assaulting a coworker who reported him for time card fraud. Charges dropped when he agreed to resign. Pattern of violence when his theft is exposed. My phone buzzed. Tanya Price. Ran some public record searches. Dale owes $38,000 in gambling debts to state-regulated casinos. That's motive for your fraud case. I showed Avery, who immediately picked up her phone. Tanya Avery Nolan, I hear you do forensic accounting. Would you consider being an expert witness? While they talked, I opened my laptop and logged into the Trust's online portal. Another thing Janet didn't know I could access. The current balance made my stomach twist. $37,000 left from $80,000. But there was something else. A pending withdrawal request for $20,000. Submitted yesterday. After the assault. After the restraining order. They were trying to drain it completely. I screenshotted everything and texted Avery, who was still on the phone. She looked, her face hardening. Tanya, I need to go. We have an emergency injunction to file. She turned to me. They're trying to clean out the account. We need a judge's order freezing it within the next 2 hours or that money's gone. Can we do that? With what you've shown me? Absolutely. But Riley, once we file this, there's no going back. They'll know you're coming for everything. The assault charge, the fraud, the theft. We're declaring war. I thought about Dale's hand across my face. Janet choosing him over me. $43,000 meant for my education funding their lifestyle. Haley's text saying, don't come back. File it all, I said. Avery's assistant was already printing documents. Sign here, here, and here. This authorizes us to act on your behalf, requests emergency freeze of assets, and initiates civil recovery suit. As I signed, Avery made another call. Judge Morrison Avery Nolan. I have an emergency injunction request involving theft from an education trust. Yes, Your Honor. The plaintiff was assaulted yesterday when she refused to provide access to additional assets. We have documentation of forgery and wire fraud. Thank you. We'll be there in 20 minutes. She hung up. Put on this blazer. You're about to meet a judge. The courthouse was old limestone and anxiety. Judge Morrison's chambers smelled like leather and justice. The judge herself was 70-something with eyes that had seen every scam attempted in Ridgemont County. $80,000 education trust, $43,000 stolen, and they're attempting to withdraw another $20,000 after assaulting the beneficiary. She reviewed the documents. Ms. Carter, is this your grandmother's signature establishing the trust? Yes, Your Honor. And this signature claiming to be Marcus Carter. My uncle lives in Berlin. He was in Tokyo that day. He's willing to testify he never signed this. Ms. Nolan, your request for emergency asset freeze is granted. I'm also ordering Chase Bank to provide full transaction records for all parties involved. She signed with aggressive strokes. Ms. Carter, your stepfather and mother have 24 hours before this becomes public record. Use that time wisely. Outside the courthouse, Avery handed me copies of everything. They'll be served within 2 hours. Dale at work, Janet at home. Once they get these papers, expect escalation. The family welcome rally is in 8 days. I know. We'll be ready. She smiled coldly. I've already contacted the prosecutor about criminal charges. With the assault, the fraud, and the gambling debts, Dale's looking at 3 to 5 years minimum. Janet could get 2 years as an accomplice. I felt something dark and satisfied unfold in my chest. What do you need from me? Keep documenting everything. Any contact, any threats, any attempts to reach you through third parties. And Riley, that rally you're thinking about if they violate the restraining order in front of 20,000 witnesses. They will, I said. Dale can't help himself. He has to have control. Take that away in public, and he'll explode. Then we'll make sure the right people are watching when he does. As I walked back to campus, my phone exploded with texts. I didn't read them, but I did forward them all to a folder labeled Evidence of Continued Harassment. The war was declared. Now I just had to win it. Building a legal case is like constructing a bomb. Every component must be perfect, or it's just noise. I spent the next 3 days turning my dorm room into a war room, evidence mapped across every surface with color-coded precision. The first portfolio, labeled HSU-01, contained the assault documentation. Tanya's video was the centerpiece, 1 minute and 38 seconds of crystal-clear footage showing Dale's hand connecting with my face. She'd captured the before, him grabbing for my keys, me stepping back, saying no clearly. The audio was perfect. Diego's medical report came next, with photographs timestamped at 11:51 mm, showing the progression of bruising. He'd been thorough, 5 pages detailing the injury pattern consistent with an open-handed strike from a right-handed male approximately 6 feet tall. Dale was 6'1" and right-handed. Mara's witness statement ran 4 pages. She documented not just the assault, but the preceding control patterns. Mr. Whitaker attempted to physically take the victim's keys while stating she owed him access to her private space. Caleb had gone further. He'd pulled campus security footage from 3 angles and created a timeline down to the second. His analysis included case law showing how Dale's actions constituted both assault and attempted theft of personal property, the keys and ID. But it was Officer Torres's addendum that made me smile. He'd run Dale's plates and found 3 parking violations on campus from the previous year, all from times he'd shown up at my workplace unannounced. Pattern of stalking behavior, documented by the university itself. Portfolio CIV-02 was thicker, angrier. Avery's paralegal had worked magic with the bank records. Every stolen dollar was traced. The $23,000 withdrawal supposedly for Riley's medical expenses. Dale had withdrawn $22,000 in cash from the casino ATM over the next week. The $15,000 for education supplies used to pay off his Ford F-150. Tanya's forensic accounting revealed more. Dale had been structuring the withdrawals to avoid IRS reporting requirements, a federal crime called smurfing. He'd also claimed me as a dependent on his taxes while stealing my money, which was tax fraud. The jewel was an email from Tribridge Logistics' HR department, responding to Avery's inquiry. Mr. Whitaker has been placed on administrative leave pending investigation of the criminal charges. His final paycheck will be garnished per court order. He'd already lost his job. Janet didn't know yet. My phone lit up with another barrage. 16 missed calls from Janet, 43 texts. I'd stopped reading them after she'd written, "You're destroying this family over nothing." $43,000 was nothing to her. Haley had finally broken her silence with, "Mom's crying constantly." Dale punched a hole in the kitchen wall. "Thanks for ruining everything." I screenshotted it. Documented violence in the home. Avery would want that. At 2 a.m. on day 4. I couldn't sleep. I pulled up Dale's Facebook, which he'd forgotten I could see. He'd posted 3 hours ago. Some ungrateful brats forget who fed them for years. But karma's real. See you all at the HSU family event. Got some truth to share. Clear violation of the no contact order's prohibition on indirect communication. I screenshotted, uploaded to the cloud, and texted Avery. Her response was immediate despite the hour. "Perfect. He just threatened you publicly. Forwarding to prosecutor." The next morning, Avery called with news. "The criminal case is moving forward. Fraud, forgery, theft over $40,000, and now violation of protective order. The DA wants Dale arrested, but I convinced them to wait." "Wait, why?" "Because you're right. He'll show up at that rally. And when he does, we'll have Ridgemont PD, campus security, and the FBI's financial crimes unit waiting." FBI. Wire fraud across state lines, your uncle's forged signature from an international location. It's federal now. I sat back, feeling the pieces click together. What about Janet? She's been offered a deal. Testify against Dale. Pay back what she can. Get probation. Or stand by him and face 2 to 3 years. She'll choose him. Then she'll fall with him? That afternoon, Mara knocked on my door. "Riley, there's someone here to see you." My body tensed, but she quickly added, "It's Tanya Price." Tanya stood in the common room holding a banker's box. "Thought you might want these." Every public record on Dale Whitaker going back 20 years. Small claims court, 3 bankruptcies, 2 divorces before your mom. 2 divorces. Both cited financial abuse and control. I tracked down wife number 2. She's willing to testify about patterns if needed. Tanya set the box down. There's more. Dale was sued by his mother in 2015. He stole her Social Security checks for 6 months. His own mother. The pattern went deeper than I'd imagined. "Why are you helping me?" I asked. Tanya's face hardened. "Because 20 years ago, I was you, except I didn't have 4 strangers step in. I didn't have video. I didn't have a lawyer. All I had was bruises and debt from the money my ex stole." She pulled out a business card. "When you win this and you will win, call me. My firm helps women recover from financial abuse. We could use someone who understands the system from the inside." After she left, I opened the box. Dale's history of destruction laid out in court documents and collection notices. 7 victims before me, documented and notarized. I photographed every page, then created portfolio CIV03 pattern evidence. Caleb texted that evening. "University-approved lifetime campus ban for Dale, pending only the formality of the hearing. They're taking this seriously." Diego added, "Health Services wants to know if you need counseling support. Everything covered by student insurance." Even strangers who'd helped once were still checking in, still building the wall between me and Dale. My phone buzzed. A new number, but I recognized the area code Berlin. "Riley, it's Uncle Marcus. I got the documents from your lawyer. I'm horrified. Whatever you need, testimony, affidavits. I'll fly back if necessary." Just the sworn statement that you never signed those papers. Already notarized and sent. And Riley, your grandmother would be proud. She always said you were the fighter in the family. That night, I finalized the master timeline. 3 portfolios, 87 pieces of evidence, 12 witness statements, 4 government agencies involved, all leading to one moment. The family welcome rally was in 4 days. Dale's Facebook showed he'd RSVP'd to the public event, another violation. Janet had shared it, adding, "Time for truth about ungrateful children who betray family." They thought they were coming to destroy me publicly. Instead, they were walking into a trap 2 weeks in the making. I opened a new document, Rally Day Operations. At the top, I wrote, "Objective lawful arrest of Dale Whitaker in front of maximum witnesses." Below that, secondary objective complete destruction of his remaining reputation. And at the bottom, underlined 3 times, no mercy, no negotiation, no backing down. The bomb was built. Now I just had to light the fuse. The coordination meeting happened in Avery's conference room 3 days before the rally. Around the table, Sergeant Torres from Ridgemont PD, Chief Sullivan from Campus Security, Agent Rebecca Nash from FBI Financial Crimes, and ADA Jennifer Reeves from the prosecutor's office. "Dale Whitaker has RSVP'd to the public Facebook event for the rally," Avery began, sliding printouts across the table. "This violates the protective order's no contact clause and the campus ban. He's also posted threats of sharing truth about Miss Carter." Agent Nash reviewed the financial documents. "We have enough for federal arrest on the wire fraud alone. The forgery pushes it to a 10-year maximum sentence. We want him to violate the protective order publicly first," Ada Reeves said. "Jury loves video evidence of defendants ignoring court orders. Makes everything else more credible." Sergeant Torres pulled up a stadium map on his tablet. "The rally starts at 11 a.m. 20,000 expected attendance. Governor speaks at noon. If Whitaker shows up..." "When," I corrected. "He'll show. Janet posted yesterday that they're reclaiming their family honor at the event." Chief Sullivan nodded. "We'll have 12 officers in the crowd, 4 at each entrance, body cams on all. The moment he crosses onto campus property, he's trespassing." "But we wait," Avery emphasized. "Let him get to the main plaza where the news cameras will be. WKRN already confirmed they're covering the governor's speech." "You want media coverage?" Agent Nash asked. "I want witnesses," I said. "Dale's spent years destroying people in private. This needs to be public." They all looked at me 19 years old, planning the tactical takedown of my stepfather like a military operation. "Miss Carter will be positioned here." Chief Sullivan pointed to a spot near the main stage. "Clear sight lines from all security positions. The moment Whitaker approaches her, which he will," I added. "He can't help himself. His control was challenged publicly, so he has to reassert it publicly. When he violates the 200-foot requirement, we move in." Torres tapped the map. "Federal agents take lead. Local PD assists. Campus security maintains perimeter." Ada Reeves turned to me. "You understand you'll need to be visible. He has to see you to approach you." "I'll be wearing bright red." "Hard to miss." "And if he doesn't come?" Agent Nash asked. Avery smiled. "Then we arrest him at his home at 2 p.m. with a local news crew that just happens to get an anonymous tip. But he'll come." I pulled out my phone, showed them Janet's latest text. "You think you've won, but Dale has proof you're lying. Everyone at that rally will know what you really are." "They're planning something," Torres said. "Let them plan." I pulled out a folder. "I have something better. Sworn affidavits from Dale's previous victims. His ex-wives, his mother, 2 former co-workers he assaulted. They've all agreed to be contacted by media if needed." Agent Nash whistled low. "You've built a RICO case worth of evidence for a domestic assault." "It was never just domestic assault," I said. "It was a 20-year pattern that I'm ending." The next 2 days, I prepared like an athlete, memorized my single line, "I do not consent to contact. Please maintain the legally required distance." Practiced standing still while Mara and Diego role-played approaching aggressively. Learned to keep my face neutral, my phone recording, my body positioned for the cameras. Caleb created a media packet, a chronological summary of Dale's crimes, complete with document citations and witness contacts. If reporters want the story, we hand them this. Everything fact-checked and verified. Tanya Price sent a final gift. Dale's gambling debts had been sold to a collection agency that had just filed suit. The court date was set for October. Even if he somehow escaped criminal charges, financial ruin was guaranteed. The night before the rally, I couldn't sleep. I reviewed everything one more time, checked that all documents were backed up to 5 different clouds, confirmed everyone was in position. At 3:23 a.m., Janet sent one last message. This is your last chance. Call off your lawyers or Dale will destroy you tomorrow. I didn't respond, but I did forward it to everyone on the legal team with the subject line, confirmation of premeditated violation. Dawn came gray and humid. I put on the red sundress I'd bought specifically for this, bright enough to be spotted from across the stadium, conservative enough to look sympathetic on camera, slipped my phone into a pocket that would keep it recording, pinned my freshman orientation badge to my chest, a visual reminder that I belonged here, and Dale didn't. Mara knocked at 9 a.m. Ready. Been ready for 2 weeks. Diego met us in the lobby, his EMT vest on. Medical's on standby if anything gets physical. Caleb waited outside with a tablet. Tanya's already at the plaza with her camera. She brought her whole accounting firm, 12 more witnesses with phones ready. We walked toward the stadium as families streamed in. Parents in HSU colors, siblings carrying pennants, freshmen looking overwhelmed, normal families doing normal things. At 9:45, Chief Sullivan's voice crackled through Mara's radio. Silver SUV matching Janet Whitaker's vehicle just entered parking lot C. At 9:52, Dale and Janet Whitaker heading toward east entrance. He's wearing a blue polo. She's in white. At 9:58, subjects have entered campus property. Violation confirmed. Avery texted me, "Stay visible, stay calm, trust the plan." At 10:15, I took my position near the main stage, red dress bright in the morning sun, surrounded by my witnesses but looking alone enough to be approached. The trap was set. At 10:23, I saw them. Dale pushing through the crowd, Janet trailing behind with her phone raised, clearly live streaming. He saw me at 10:24. His face went from scanning to focused, like a predator spotting prey. He started pushing harder, faster, straight toward me. At 10:25, he crossed the 300-foot mark. At 10:26, the 200-foot mark. At 10:27, he was 50 feet away and accelerating, his hand already reaching out, mouth opening to shout something. I stood perfectly still, phone recording, and said my line clearly, "I do not consent to contact. Please maintain the legally required distance." He kept coming. At 10:28, with 20,000 people around us and news cameras rolling for the governor's arrival, Dale Whitaker grabbed for my shoulder. He never made contact. The sun blazed overhead as 20,000 people filled the stadium plaza. The massive screen meant for the governor's speech showed crowd shots, families in matching HSU shirts, alumni hugging, freshmen taking selfies. The speakers blared, "Welcome, class of 2028, while the marching band warmed up near the east entrance. I stood in my red dress like a beacon, feeling Dale's approach like electricity in the air. Janet's voice carried over the crowd noise. She was narrating her live stream, her phone held high. There she is, the ungrateful brat who destroyed our family. Everyone's about to see the truth. Dale bulldozed through a cluster of families, knocking someone's coffee, 50 feet, 40, 30. His face was pure rage, that familiar flush that preceded violence. But this time, I wasn't alone in a parking lot. This time, I had an army. Dale Whitaker. Chief Sullivan's voice boomed through a megaphone from my left. "You are in violation of a protective order. Stop where you are." Dale didn't stop. If anything, he moved faster, his hand outstretched like he could grab me before they grabbed him. 20 feet. 15. That's when the crowd noticed something was happening. Phones rose like a wave. The jumbo screen operator, sensing drama, swung the camera our way. Suddenly, Dale's rage-twisted face was 20 feet tall above us all. 10 feet. I could see the veins in his neck, hear his heavy breathing. "You lying little." Agent Nash stepped out from behind a banner stand, badge held high. "FBI, Dale Whitaker, you're under arrest for wire fraud, forgery, and violation of a federal protective order." Dale lunged. 3 officers converged instantly. Torres got there first, catching Dale's wrist before it reached me. Sullivan had his other arm. Nash already had the handcuffs out. "Don't touch me," Dale roared, the megaphone catching every word. "She's lying, tell them. Janet, tell them about the money she owes us." The jumbo screen showed everything in high definition. Dale fighting against the officers, spittle flying from his mouth, his polo shirt coming untucked as he struggled. 20,000 people had their phones out, recording from every angle. Janet pushed forward, her live stream still running. "This is kidnapping. This is our daughter. We have rights. Ma'am, step back." Ada Reeves appeared beside her, smooth as silk. "Your husband is being arrested on federal charges, and you're live streaming yourself defending a man who just violated a protective order in front of—" She gestured at the crowd. "Approximately 20,000 witnesses." The jumbo screen split, half showing Dale being handcuffed, half showing Janet's shocked face as she realized her live stream was evidence against them. "Dale Whitaker." Agent Nash's voice was clear and carrying. "You're under arrest for wire fraud, identity theft, forgery of financial documents, theft of education funds exceeding $40,000, and violation of a protective order." Each charge echoed across the plaza through the sound system. Parents pulled their children closer. The governor's advance team was frantically talking into radios. "Riley!" Dale shouted as they started moving him toward the police vehicles. "You destroyed everything. Your grandmother would be ashamed." I stepped forward, just enough to be heard clearly. "My grandmother left that money for my education. You stole $43,000 from her trust. You forged my uncle's signature. You assaulted me when I wouldn't give you more. Everyone here is witnessing what you really are." The crowd had formed a corridor now, phones out like a gauntlet. Dale was paraded through it, the handcuffs glinting in the sun. Someone started slow clapping. Then another. By the time they reached the police cars, half the crowd was applauding his removal. Janet stood frozen, her phone still recording her own devastation. Chief Sullivan approached her. "Ma'am, you're banned from campus property. You need to leave immediately or face trespassing charges." But I'm a parent." "No," I said, loud enough for the nearby crowd to hear. "You're an accomplice to theft. You helped him steal my education fund. You chose him over your own daughter." Tanya Price materialized beside me, her phone capturing Janet's face as it cycled through emotions: rage, humiliation, fear, and finally, the realization that she'd lost. "This isn't over," Janet hissed. "Yes, it is." Avery appeared with a manila envelope. "Janet Whitaker, you're being served. Civil suit for recovery of stolen education funds, plus damages. Your husband's arrest triggers the asset freeze on all joint accounts. Tribridge Logistics has confirmed his termination, so there's no income. Your house, the one mortgaged to pay his gambling debts, is subject to liens from 3 different creditors." She opened the envelope, pulled out another document. "Oh, and Haley contacted us. She wants to ensure her college fund, what's left of it, is protected from you and Dale. She's filing for emancipation." Janet's live stream was still running. She'd just broadcast her own financial destruction to everyone watching. The crowd was talking now, the story spreading like wildfire. "Did you hear he stole education money? $40,000 from his own stepdaughter. No wonder she reported him." A reporter from WKRN pushed through. Microphone extended. "Miss Carter, can you comment on—" Caleb smoothly intercepted, handing her the media packet. "Full documentation of a 20-year pattern of financial abuse and assault. Previous victims willing to speak on record. FBI Financial Crimes Division contact included." The reporter's eyes widened as she flipped through it. This is extensive. That's what happens when you document everything, I said directly to the camera. When someone financially abuses you, steals from you, assaults you, document it all. Don't stay silent. I had 4 strangers protect me for 12 seconds, and that changed everything. I looked around at Mara, Diego, Caleb, and Tanya, all standing with me. Those 12 seconds gave me the strength to fight back. The governor's motorcade was pulling up, his speech about to begin, but half the crowd was still watching our drama, sharing videos, posting with hashtags already trending. Education theft. Justice for Riley. Campus arrest. Dale was in the back of Agent Nash's sedan, his face visible through the window, defeated, humiliated, his control finally and completely broken. Janet was being escorted to her car by campus security, her designer outfit wrinkled, her live stream showing her followers the inside of her purse as she forgot she was still recording. The university president appeared at my elbow. "Miss Carter, I want to personally assure you that HSU takes student safety seriously. Mr. Whitaker will never set foot on this campus again." "Good," I said, "because I have 4 years of education to complete, with my own money, that he can't touch anymore." As the crowd shifted toward the stage for the governor's speech, Tanya squeezed my shoulder. "You did it." "We did it," I corrected. The handcuffs clicked at 10:28 a.m., but it was the silence afterward that I'll never forget. 20,000 people, and for just a moment, you could hear nothing but the metallic snap of justice being served. Then the crowd erupted. Sergeant Torres read Dale his rights while the jumbo screen broadcast every word. "You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law." Dale wasn't staying silent. "This is a setup. She planned this. Check her computer." "Actually, yes," Avery said loudly enough for the nearby crowd to hear. "She did plan this. She planned to legally document your crimes. She planned to follow proper legal channels. She planned to ensure justice was served publicly, the same way you tried to humiliate her publicly." The FBI sedan's door slammed on Dale's protests. Through the window, I could see him still shouting, his face red against the glass. 3 news vans had arrived, their cameras capturing the federal vehicle pulling away with my stepfather in custody. Janet stood by her car, surrounded by campus security. Her white outfit was stained with someone's spilled coffee, her live stream showing the ground as she'd forgotten to stop recording. The comments were pouring in on her screen. "OMG, you helped steal from your own daughter. This is insane." Team Riley. "Ma'am, you need to leave now," Chief Sullivan said firmly. Janet looked at me one last time. "Your grandmother would—" "My grandmother," I interrupted, "was the one who taught me to document everything. She knew what you were before I did. That's why she put the safeguards on the trust fund, the ones you and Dale had to commit fraud to bypass." The university's legal counsel stepped forward. "Mrs. Whitaker, you are permanently banned from all university property. Any attempt to return will result in immediate arrest." As security escorted Janet away, she tried one final manipulation. "Riley, you're still my daughter." "No," I said clearly, the crowd recording every word. "I'm Eleanor Carter's granddaughter. I'm a survivor of financial abuse. I'm a freshman at HSU, but I am not your daughter. You made that choice when you chose him." The crowd parted as Janet was marched to her car. Someone had written "thief" in the dust on her windshield. Her live stream finally ended when her phone died, but not before capturing her breaking down in the driver's seat, realizing she'd lost everything. Ada Reeves approached with a tablet. "Miss Carter, Dale's booking is complete. With the federal charges and the violent approach witnessed by thousands, bail will be set extremely high. Given the frozen assets, it's unlikely he'll make it." "What about Janet?" "The DA's office will be in touch. Her live stream is actually evidence of conspiracy. She knew about the protective order and helped him violate it." Reeves smiled grimly. "She filmed her own crime." The governor had started his speech, but clusters of people were still discussing what they'd witnessed. I heard fragments, brave girl, $40,000 from education funds. What kind of parents? A woman approached with her daughter, a nervous-looking freshman. Excuse me, are you Riley? My daughter's in your orientation group. I just wanted to say as a mother, I'm sorry you had to go through that. But the way you handled it with dignity and strategy, that's incredible. More parents approached, offering support, sharing their own stories. One father quietly mentioned he was a lawyer specializing in recovering stolen assets if I needed additional help. A mother who ran a scholarship foundation took my contact information. Mara pulled me aside as the crowd grew. You okay? I'm free, I said, and meant it. Diego had his EMT kit out, checking my vitals from habit. Heart rate's normal. No shock symptoms. You're tougher than half the accident victims I treat. Caleb was fielding reporter requests, his legal pad full of media contacts. 3 national outlets want interviews: CNN, MSNBC, and surprisingly, a financial crimes podcast with 2 million subscribers. Schedule them all, I said. The more public this is, the less chance Dale has of hurting anyone else. Tanya Price had been typing on her phone. She showed me the screen where Justice for Riley was trending nationally. The video of Dale's arrest had over 1 million views in an hour. Your story's going to help people, she said. Girls trapped in similar situations, seeing that fighting back is possible. My phone buzzed. A text from Haley. Saw everything online. I'm sorry. I was wrong. Dale's been controlling me too. Can we talk? I texted back. After the lawyers are done. But yes. Agent Nash returned. Her federal vehicle parked where Dale's arrest had happened. Miss Carter, Dale's been processed. He's facing 15 to 20 years federal time. The forgery alone is 10. Add the wire fraud, the assault, the protective order violation. He won't see freedom until he's 70. What about the money? Seized accounts will be liquidated to pay restitution. You'll recover most, if not all, of the $43,000. Your grandmother's trust will be restored. As she left, I stood in my red dress in the middle of the plaza, surrounded by the 4 strangers who'd become my protection, my witnesses, my friends. The governor was talking about bright futures and new beginnings, having no idea a different kind of new beginning had just played out in front of his audience. The clock tower chimed 11 a.m. 33 minutes since Dale had entered campus. 33 minutes to destroy 20 years of control and abuse. So what now? Mara asked. I looked at the stadium full of families, at the news vans, at the federal vehicle disappearing in the distance with Dale inside, at Janet's SUV being towed because she'd parked in a restricted zone in her hurry to confront me. Now I go to my noon chemistry class, I said. I've got a degree to earn, with my own money, that no one can touch. The crowd around us laughed and applauded. Someone shouted, "Give 'em hell, Riley." I walked through campus in my bright red dress, my witness army beside me, phones still recording, story still spreading. Dale had wanted to destroy me publicly. Instead, he'd given me the perfect stage to destroy him. My grandmother always said the best revenge is a life well lived, but sometimes the best revenge is handcuffs clicking in front of 20,000 witnesses, a federal arrest record that will follow him forever, and the knowledge that a 19-year-old girl he tried to control was the architect of his complete destruction. I had documented everything. I had stood my ground, and with the help of 4 strangers who gave me 12 seconds of intervention, I had won. The revolution wasn't televised. It was live-streamed by the enemy herself. Thank you for listening to this story of justice and courage. If you're listening to this, I'd love to know where in the world you're tuning in from. Drop a comment below and let's connect. Please subscribe to the channel if you found this story powerful, and share your thoughts on standing up against abuse and fighting for what's yours. Your support means everything, and remember, sometimes 12 seconds of courage can change your entire life.